Welcome to Crafty Little Beach. This is Julie. Today I have a Dollar Tree DIY for you. I found this like hexagon frame from the Dollar Tree, and I was wondering if I could do like a cutout of a honeycomb pattern so I could make like a see-through honeycomb. I thought that would be really fun to try to do. So I thought this frame would be perfect. It's a black frame, and I'm going to use some of this cardstock from the Dollar Tree. They had a yellow in there. I thought that'd be perfect for a honeycomb. And I'm going to use my Cricut to cut this out because this is going to be intricate. So I designed an SVG file of honeycomb. And I will share that as a free SVG in the description of today's video. So you'll be able to cut one out too if you have a Cricut. I cut it out. I did 9 by 9. I thought that would be plenty big for this size frame. And the Cricut did an awesome job for this. Let me show you. I made sure not to make it too thin because I didn't want the cardstock breaking. And I'm just going to peel it off, leaving behind all those little cells there. You could always use those for some more bee crafting. And I think this is going to work really well. I want it to just be the frame and then have all these honeycombs cut out. So the first thing I do is just remove the back, the glass, everything that was in this frame. And we can find a way to attach the honeycomb cells here to the back. And including the little pieces there that keep the back of the frame on, those are going to get in the way. So I just use a screwdriver and go ahead and remove all of those. Now I'm left with this great little black frame, perfect size for this honeycomb that we cut out. But I do need to find a way to cut it down and to attach it to the frame itself. So I just laid my frame on top, and I'm just going to go around with a pencil. And anywhere where I come upon a honeycomb piece, I am just sketching that out with my pencil, so I'll know how to cut this down to size. I want it to go inside the frame, so it needs to be a little bit shorter than what I cut out. So I just cut inside those lines, but I definitely don't want to cut it too much because I want to make sure it fits. And I just go around and carefully cut that part out. Now, I wasn't sure if there was going to be enough items to glue to the frame itself since there's so many openings on this. So I'll show you what I ended up doing to attach this. First of all, let's try it on to see if it's going to fit. And I probably cut it a little too big, so I am going to trim it down a little bit to make it fit better. So I just kind of cut one little piece at a time. Anywhere where I see it's not fitting inside the frame, I want to make sure that the paper is not visible from the front. And then I have some spare paper left over from the cardstock. What I'm gonna do is cut little strips. So those strips will go on the inside of the frame where it will kind of frame it out, yet it won't be visible. So I'm just using my paper cutter, and I'm gonna cut down some really thin little strips of paper. This way I'll get a straighter cut. And then I'm just going to go around and piece that together all the way around it, so I'll have something a little bit more substantial to glue down, because I want to make sure it's strong enough because we're going to be adding some bees to this as well. So I kind of cut them down to size, one little section at a time. And then since it's paper to paper, I'm just going to use a glue stick to attach these. I thought that'd probably be the best way to glue them on top of each part of the paper. And then I will go in with some hot glue to secure the whole panel in a little bit better. That was kind of just to glue it to itself in the honeycomb. But I want to make sure that this doesn't fall out and it's nice and strong. So now that I have that all done, I can go in with some hot glue around the edges and glue each end down. I was so glad that I used my Cricut to cut out this honeycomb design. It made it so much easier. I guess you could try cutting it out by hand, but you're not going to get that crisp cut like that you're going to get from your Cricut. So that looks pretty good. I do want to make it a standing sign, and the frame itself is not quite thick enough to make it stand up. So I'm going to use some Dollar Tree craft wood for that. I'm just going to cut out a piece of it that's a little bit wider to make a base. And we can always paint this black to make it blend in with the black honeycomb frame. So I just cut it down and made sure to sand it so it looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and paint it black before I attach it. I try to always have some Dollar Tree craft wood like this in my stash to craft with. And I've also cut down other wood items to use for this kind of same purpose. It's always good to have handy. And it makes a perfect base. It's going to be nice and heavy. For the bees, I found some really cute little string bees from Michael's. Aren't these so cute? and I am going to use these as bees on there. I actually got these on sale at Michael's. I usually don't shop there. Their craft supplies are too expensive for me. But when these guys were on sale, I couldn't pass them up. I'm going to take them off of the greenery like this. They have a little bit of hot glue holding them on. And then I'm going to attach them to it. Aren't they so cute? Look at them. They're like covered in like yellow and black string. They have cute little antennas, legs, and wings. And I thought they'd be perfect to display on this little honeycomb. They're not going to be super heavy for that paper honeycomb backing. And I thought two of them would look really cute on here. I'm just going to put a little hot glue on their feet to make them stick to the paper. And I love these. They're so cute. I've used them for a bee coffee bar before, so I'm already getting a second use out of these cute little guys. I think that looks pretty good. And now I can go ahead and attach this little honeycomb to the craft wood. I just do a bead of hot glue and center that right on there and let that set up. And here it is, our little honeycomb cutout frame with little bees on it. I love the fact that you could see through it like that. I think that's a really fun little feature and a fun way to cut out little honeycomb cells. As you can see, it's nice and bright yellow, black. The frame was already black, so I didn't have to paint it at all. And how adorable are those little bees from Michael's? I really love those. Super cute. I have DIY'd some bees, not quite this size bee, using like little yellow pom-poms from the Dollar Tree.